Hey guys, welcome to Challenges Education. In our current affairs section, we have started daily news analysis of All India Radio from newsonair.com. I hope this will help accelerating your preparation for government exams. Here the show begins.
This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on prevailing situation in Afghanistan. The participants are Ashok Sajjanhar, former diplomat, and Pranay Upadhyay, journalist.
Afghanistan is an important country of South Asia, and also it is said to be that Afghanistan's peace and stability is a key factor for the peace and tranquility of the region. Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar, what is your comment on Jalalabad attack, which actually took 20 innocent lives and most of them are sick? So, in fact, the minority persecution we can make out of this incident, how do you see it as? Because the incidents of suicide bomb attacks and the IED explosions have increased in Afghanistan.
Absolutely. As far as this attack is concerned, it is very reprehensible and needs to be condemned in no uncertain terms, as has been done by the Indian Embassy in Kabul and by several other sources also. It is very, very unfortunate that this has happened, because out of the 20 people who died and about 20 of more who were injured, 9 of those who died were Sikhs and 9 others were Hindu. So basically, minority community, which has really been coming down in numbers over the last many years. If you were to look at the numbers of Sikhs in Afghanistan, there used to be about 80,000 of them in the 1970s, but that has come down to now about 1,000 or so. And even more deplorable is that one of the persons who died, Mr. Amarjit Singh Khalsa, he was contested the parliamentary election that had to take place in Afghanistan in October this year, and he would have fought on a minority for a minority seat. But it was more or less a foregone conclusion that he would be a shoo-in, he would win the election without any opposition. Actually, there would be no contest as far as that seat is concerned. But although he would be on a minority seat, that he would have gone into the parliament, but he had said just a few days ago that it would be his intention to represent all the communities and to represent the whole country in the parliament, and not only the minority communities in the parliament. So it is very, very reprehensible that this sort of thing has happened, and of course we need to see how going forward this can be avoided, because unfortunately this will bring down both the comfort level and the confidence of the minorities in Afghanistan.
Commenting on this attack, the Afghan ambassador to India, Shahida Abdali, today said he did not name the country, but he said that most of the attack in Afghanistan are directed from across the border. Can we say that this attack also, in continuation to the various attacks on the Indian missions and Indian interests, and even the 6 of the Indian citizens are still under abduction in Afghanistan, can we say that the Jalalabad attack on minority community is also an attack on the Indian interest in Indian rebuilding and reconstruction efforts in Afghanistan?
Absolutely. I think, it was a targeted attack. It is not that it was something general attack and these people happened to be there. It was targeted at the vehicles in which they were traveling, and all of them were traveling to meet the Afghan president, Mr. Ashraf Ghani. Ashraf Ghani happened to be in Jalalabad to inaugurate a hospital, and actually it is reported that the casualties and the injured people, the number of the injured would have been much greater, but for the fact that many of the areas of the city of Jalalabad were cordoned off because of the fact that the Afghan president was going to be there. And the attack took place right in the heart of the city. So that is why there has been so much of damage also. But you're very right when you say that it is the minorities, it is the Sikhs and the Hindu minorities that were targeted, and that is particularly something that needs to be condemned in unequivocal terms.
As far as the prevailing situation in Afghanistan is concerned, we have seen there is an increase of the suicide bomb attacks in Afghanistan, and recently there was the announcement of the ceasefire during the Ramzan, and we have seen the pictures also of Afghan soldiers and Taliban greeting each other on Eid. So how this ceasefire could not sustain for a long to build a lasting peace between the Taliban or the peace process? And where do you see the peace process of Afghanistan standing right now?
things are very, very difficult in Afghanistan because we've been seeing not only in 2018 where the number of attacks has increased very greatly, also in 2017 and 2016 the attacks have been going up. And the ceasefire that you mentioned, that was only for about 3 days or so. That is around Eid time. Of course, the Afghan government had made this unilateral offer of a ceasefire to the Taliban before that, but the Taliban agreed to have the ceasefire only for 3 days around Eid time. Although the Afghan government extended it for another 10 days, but the Taliban did not extend it for that. So as far as Taliban is concerned, and as the Afghan ambassador Shahida Abdali here, he mentioned, and of course it's not a secret, it is their president also, and even the chief executive officer Abdullah, when they have come here, they have always pointed the finger at Pakistan for supporting, for abetting terrorist actions, through support to the Taliban, through support to the Haqqani network. In fact, this is also mentioned by the United States when it released its South Asia strategy in August last year, that there are safe havens that are being provided by Pakistan to terrorists who launch and inflict such damage, such violence and destruction and kill people in Afghanistan. In fact, you would recall that the tweet that President Donald Trump had issued on the 1st of January, and he said that Pakistan has been making a fool of the American leadership because America has given $33 billion to Pakistan to deal with terrorism, but actually they have been providing safe havens to these terrorists, and they think that they've been making a fool of America's leaders. So it is very well known that as far as Taliban and Haqqani network are concerned, they have been getting all the support that they need to launch attacks and inflict this damage on Afghanistan from Pakistan. But I think over the last few years, because here in this case, although it has not been verified, but it has been mentioned that the Islamic State has assumed responsibility for this attack. They have not given any proof or any evidence to that. But Islamic State has also become very active in some of the provinces in Afghanistan. They launched their operations in end 2014 or beginning of 2015. And their headquarters or their capital, so to say, the regional capital, is in the Nangarhar province in East Afghanistan, which adjoins Pakistan, so that they are able to get recruits from there, they are able to get funding or whatever it is. And their presence has also been increasing, and many of the most visible or the high-profile attacks that we have seen in Afghanistan in recent months, whether it is against the shrine, against the Afghan Ulema Council that had been supporting peace talks between the Taliban and the government, or it has been by loading explosives against the media outlets, an ambulance, against hotels. So all these sort of attacks that have been taking place, the high-profile ones, the responsibility has been claimed by the Islamic State. So there are a number of such terrorist organizations that are operative, that are very active in Afghanistan, as a result of which we see that no peace has been possible in that country.
But Ambassador Sajina, taking cue from your comment, how do you assess that at least 11 months have passed of the new South Asia policy announced by President Donald Trump and its administration? If these terrorist safe havens are still continuing in the Afpak region, the Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan, if the suicide bomb attacks have increased, how do you assess the last 11 months of this new South Asia policy? Because we have seen increased attacks by the US forces initially, then the famous tweet you mentioned about President Donald Trump accused Pakistan of betrayal.
It doesn't seem to be having much of an impact on the ground, because I think one must give credit to Donald Trump that he is walking the talk, in the sense that earlier presidents, they used to condemn Pakistan verbally and use the strongest of language. But as far as doing something on the ground, that they were not prepared to do, that they were not willing to do. Whether it was Barack Obama or in later years even George W. Bush, because in 2011 we saw that Osama bin Laden had taken refuge in Abbottabad in Pakistan, so it couldn't have been done without the consent and without the knowledge of Pakistan military and Pakistan authorities. But still after that, the screws were not really tightened, so to say, on Pakistan. But over the last year and a half that President Trump has been here, and again, credit must be given to him, that he said while announcing the South Asia strategy in August last year, that he had come into office with the thinking that the United States has no role in Afghanistan and its troops should withdraw. There were about 9,000, 10,000 troops there from the United States, and that they should withdraw because the United States should not be extending itself in that region. However, he had persuaded himself by his advisors to change his mind. So he had been told, number one, that America needed more troops in Afghanistan to ensure that there was peace, and also to bring in security and stability, and also that there should not be any artificial deadlines by which the US troops should withdraw. So he has come in with the more 4,000, 5,000 additional troops, only that they will withdraw when there is stability and there is security in Afghanistan. So to that extent, he is following up on what he's announcing. But obviously, we have seen that when Barack Obama got the numbers in 2009, 2010 to as high as 140,000, even those number of troops were really not able to quell the violence that was emanating from the Haqqani network and from Taliban. So I do not think that it could have been expected that this would come down. We also remember that about last year that President Trump had launched what was called the mother of all bombs on the caves in Nangarhar province in which the Islamic State operatives were supposed to be there. And at that time, the military leadership in Afghanistan had said that they would be able to take care of the 700 or 1,000 Islamic State operatives who are there. But today we find that the numbers have gone up. So while the United States is continuing with its policy of applying pressure on Pakistan and also using its forces and its troops and soldiers in Afghanistan, the fact is that on the ground, no positive results seems to be visible.
What role India could play and how India could have a better leverage in that area, at least protect the Indian interest?
As we know, India has invested a great deal. The security, stability and peace in India is inextricably linked to peace and stability in Afghanistan. So we have to make sure we have to do everything that is possible. The positive point is that the Afghan people have a very positive view. I think India is the most popular and the most well-liked country because not only of our historical links but also because of its policies and what we have been able to do and what we have been able to achieve there. Whether it is putting in place the Salma Dam or the Afghanistan-India Friendship Dam, or it is the Pule-Khumri transmission line, or it is the connecting road from Kabul to the western border of Afghanistan, from Zaranj to Delaram, the road, or so many other initiatives that we have taken. So we need to work with the regional partners, with the regional countries, and also we are on the same page as far as the United States is concerned that we really cannot do business with the Taliban, because Taliban is a huge part of the problem and it cannot in that sense be a part of the solution.
Recently, India and China both agreed in Wuhan summit that they would be working together as a pioneer project in Afghanistan. Prime Minister soon would be visiting South Africa for the BRICS summit, where terrorism would be an important issue. Do you think that India, Russia and China could have an alternative axis of cooperation in Afghanistan, because all the three countries share borders with Afghanistan?
I think that is the way to go, because I have always maintained that we need to devise regional solutions, and India, Russia, China getting together. We have possibilities in BRICS. Prime Minister will be going there in South Africa on the 26th, 27th of July. And I think that will be a very good opportunity, particularly taking off from the statement that we issued at Xiamen last year in September after the BRICS summit.
The situation in Afghanistan and the increasing interest of India demands for the expansion of horizon and exploring the alternatives of multilateral cooperation with countries like China and Russia and other stakeholders in Afghanistan for the rebuilding, reconstruction of Afghanistan as well as the peace and stability of the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In the end, I would request you all to please subscribe to our channel if not done yet, so that you can get an instant notification for the videos we upload. God bless you all.